got the real deal now. Gonna kick your sorry ass out on the street. What you got? You used to think you owned the street. Well, pack your bags and your ass is dead meat.
How's it going, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Lowdown Show right here on No Holds Barred Wrestling Podcast, your Canadian wrestling podcast that talks about NXT and No Holds Barred on anything we say, pun intended. You can follow the podcast on Twitter at No Holds Barred WP, and you can follow myself at Real Kyle Masters. You can also follow the podcast on Instagram, No Holds Barred WP, all one word. If you want to listen to us on the go, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and Spreaker is where you can find us. You can also listen to us live here on Spreaker by downloading a free profile, making your profile, and then you'll be able to chat with us live on the air. And you can listen to our previous episodes of the podcast as well. And if you want to watch any video versions of the podcast, youtube.com/NHBWR is where you can find us. Hit that subscribe button, that little bell icon for all upload updates. I'm your host, as always, on the Lowdown Show, the self-proclaimed greatest host, Kyle Masters. And guys, welcome to episode 98. We're already at 98 episodes of the Lowdown Show. Going for 100 soon. Don't know what I'm going to do on 100. I'm thinking maybe we should do a special, maybe like a live YouTube special for the Lowdown Show. Something big. Maybe I'll give away something. I have something in mind that I'm thinking about giving away. But maybe doing a 100 episode. So we'll see what happens for that. I'll keep it in mind. But welcome to episode 98, and if you guys don't know, it's the Lowdown Show. We review NXT every single week. We don't review the main roster because, for obvious reasons, I don't want to sit here and review the main roster because it's absolutely, in my eyes and some of your eyes out there, absolutely trashed, and why should I review trash when I can review the great NXT, the actual A-show every single week right here in the WWE? So let's go over to live chat really quick. We got Tiffany from That Ass Podcast, guys. Go check her out. I was a special guest star on one of her special podcasts, That Coffee Podcast, where we sat and drank coffee on YouTube Live. It was an interesting podcast, so go check it out. Go on That Ass Podcast on YouTube and go give him a follow. We got B is for Awesome. What's going on, my brother? He says, I've arrived coming in hot, Titus style. Yes, I'm aware. I was at work today during this event, but I saw the GIFs, and I was on Twitter a little bit at work. So I seen it. That was hilarious. You know, also got Cuba Girl 125. Little Miss Trix has arrived, sliding in like Titus. He's gonna be made fun of forever with that. Like that's that. I've already had Cappy texting me, saying Titus sliding right into Titus catering. I've seen a lot of shit so far. It's funny. It's poor Titus, man. The guy can't catch a break, man. And a lot of people don't remember. I didn't remember until someone pointed it out to me. I guess back in like the original NXT days. Like where they were doing those competitions. He had like a keg carrying competition, and as he was running around the one post, he fell and the keg went flying. So you guys have to go look that up. And Titus doesn't have a lot of good luck running around the ring. I think she just cut off running around the ring for good, Titus. I think you should just stick to either catering or, stick with Dana Brooke, man. She doesn't run around the ring. She can't run those high heels. She's got to waddle down to the ring. So stick with her. You'll be safe, man. Just stick to the Titus Worldwide. Just stick to that. You'll be all right. Keeper says, the Greatest Royal Rumble was really fun, but it was kind of like a house show. Okay, so that's what actually what Cappy texted me. He's like, it was basically just like a 5-hour house show on TV. So I don't know. I'm not going to go back and watch it, to be honest. I just had Cappy filling me in while I was at work. The Royal Rumble was what it was. I was actually really surprised that they made Lesnar retain the championship. I thought for sure, because of the reaction Reigns was going to get inside. I actually didn't ask him about the reaction he got. I thought for sure they're going to have Lesnar retain. That was very shocking and very interesting ending to that match. With that, I seen the video of the spear right through the cage. That was very, very. I don't know. It was a really tough spot to watch. I'm like, that could have gone really bad, but it is what it is. So I was shocked. I thought Reigns for sure would get. He got booed, eh? Okay. B is for Awesome's filling me in. Roman getting booed. I don't know. Maybe that's why they did it. Maybe they changed it mid-match. I mean, they changed it mid-match at WrestleMania, so who knows? I don't know what's going on with Roman. I feel like now the experience is completely dead. It was dead before, but now I think it's like WWE's like, what else are they going to do with this guy? You can't get over at all. They've tried for like 5 years. WrestleMania was probably supposed to be the big moment. He wins the title, and he didn't. Now everyone thought this was going to be the moment because he was probably going to get cheered in Saudi Arabia, and he gets booed. So you guys gets booed around the world. So obviously the experiment has failed with Roman Reigns. They got to stop with it. They have to move on, find another top guy. You don't have to have a main face of the company right now. Wait until you find that legitimate face of the company. Maybe someone NXT you got their eye on, or maybe someone that's already called up they got their eye on. To me, it should be Daniel Bryan, but it is what it is with him, and we know what they think about him. And they gave him a good showing in the Royal Rumble today, the greatest Royal Rumble. He number one, he lasted almost to the end there. It's awesome. Roman versus Lesnar is going to be Peter Griffin versus a chicken. Oh my god, I can already see it. It's so true. If you guys don't know if that Family Guy reference, then I don't know what to do. I don't know what to tell you. You got to watch some more TV. I don't know. Anyways, yeah. To me, the experiment has failed. They got to move on from this. Move on to Roman versus someone else. I don't know what they're going to do now, because now they're doing Roman versus Samoa Joe at Backlash, and I thought that was going to be for the title, because I thought Roman was going to beat Brock for it, and then Samoa Joe was going to get his title shot. But now Samoa Joe's on SmackDown, it kind of makes more sense that, okay, now Roman didn't win a title, it kind of makes more sense now. Now, how is Roman ever going to win the championship? Because I thought the original plans were for Lashley and Lesnar to go at it at SummerSlam, but then I was being told that those plans got nixed. Now that Lesnar's retained, what the fuck is going on? Is this all part of his new deal? I'm hearing that his new contract is absolutely absurd. That it's a ridiculous amount of money for each match, which is ridiculous. Yeah, Backlash is next week already. Like, and our boy Jimmy Jumbo Ref 123 is going to be there. Oh, that's cool. But yeah, like I really don't care about Backlash either. If I miss that, I miss that. Like they have done nothing to build that pay-per-view. So why should I sit here and expect something great out of Backlash? Like we already got Roman versus Samoa Joe, which is going to be all right, but it's for nothing. So why should I put any attention into Backlash? If there's no swinging hooks, it's not Backlash. I agree, B.S. Frossom. That was a great set back in the day. The swinging hooks, that made Backlash iconic. I wish they would bring these sets back, man. Stop with this cutbacks and this budget cuts bullshit. You just had fucking Pyro twice in the same month. Don't tell me there's budget cuts. They paid you $43 million to host that thing today in Saudi Arabia, so you can afford bringing back some sets, man. Anyways, screw the main roster. It's not why we're here. We're here to talk about it. As you can see my shirt, watching the video version of this podcast. Oh, and I forgot to say, if you were watching the video version of this podcast, if you were listening live, go back and tune into the video version of the podcast, because I have a special surprise before the actual video, before the podcast. I have a special unboxing from our girl Tiffany here in Dad's Podcast. Sent me a pretty cool gift. So you want to go check that out. It'll be the beginning of the video of this version of the podcast. If you're listening live, it won't be until tomorrow when it's rendered and on YouTube, so stay tuned for that. So go check that out. Anyways, as I was saying, Lowdown Show's here, where we talk about NXT every single week. In my eyes, the A brand of the WWE, because it puts on a good show every single week. It leaves me not pissed off. Yeah, it has its moments, but hey, I actually have a better time watching NXT than the main roster, and is why I choose to continue to review it right here on the Lowdown Show. And yeah, I'll talk about the main roster here, here and there at the beginning of the show, but main focus is NXT. This week highlighted by Johnny Gargano and Aleister Black's NXT title match, and the North American title being defended by Oney Lorcan by Adam Cole against Oney Lorcan, and the reasons why Undisputed Era did what they did at TakeOver New Orleans. So we'll move into it. Undisputed Era actually opened up the show, which is a really good idea, I thought. They get in the ring. I really like what they look like now with the 4 members. It looks really sick. I love the pose they did in the ring. They got a lot of non-heel heat from the crowd. The crowd's really behind the Undisputed Era, man. They love these guys. I'm pretty sure these guys are a heel faction, but it is what it is. They did really nothing in their promos today to get the fans on against them. So this was very, very interesting promos done by the Undisputed Era. QBR125 in the chat really quickly. I had to get my hair done, but I catched up with what happened on NXT. Oh, good. And B.S. Frostum, since there's no more co-hosts since corporate went heel on us, let's do a call-in episode 100. I promise to have pants on. Yeah, it's no holds barred. Pants is not heated. You're right, Tiff. I like that. So the 100th episode will be a full-in call-in episode. Then I'll do that, and I'll get some posters done for that. Anyways, Undisputed Era come out. They talk about winning the championship, all their championships, the tag team titles, the North American title, and all the people in charge of NXT are against them, and they're here proving them wrong. Roddy gets on the mic eventually. They all get cut a promo here. They each had their own promo time, and I thought they each did a good job. Roddy Strong talks about betraying Pete Dunne, saying that Dunne would have done it anyways, done the same thing because all he cares about is that UK title. And Roddy also says that's why, he says that's why have it Roddy versus the world and come up short when he can conquer it together and succeed with the Undisputed Era. So I thought Roddy did a good job with that promo. Cuba Girl in the chat, Undisputed Era has to me it has the Bullet Club vibes. Yeah, 100%. They got that Bullet Club vibes. And it more ties into Adam Cole being a former member of the Bullet Club and bringing that kind of sense to it. I do agree, Cuba Girl. Roddy has improved on his promo skills. They all, I think, cut a pretty good promo here. Adam Cole eventually gets back on the mic and talks about defending his NXT North American Championship title next against Oney Lorcan, and tells the Undisputed Era to go to the back, go in the back, enjoy a drink because hey, it's Oney Lorcan. How bad can it be? And the Undisputed Era will continue to shock the system. I love these guys. As you can see, if you're watching the video version of the podcast, I'm wearing the Undisputed Era shirt. I'm all about these guys. I love their mic skills. I love the in-ring skill of each one of them. I'm a huge fan of Adam Cole, big fan of Roddy Strong. I love Red Dragon, all being together in a team here. It's amazing. I love these guys. I'm all about these guys. So I'll biasly be picking them and every time I do a predictions podcast. That's for sure. So very well done promo by each of these guys. A lot of good mic work. Big future with this faction, man. I could see these guys being like the last big faction I think NXT had that was a legitimate faction that will move on to the main roster as a dominant faction, exactly what the Shield did, and I guess somewhat with the Wyatts, and which I'm hoping Sanity does too. But I think the next big one is Undisputed Era. They got that Shield vibe, so I'm hoping it's going to be, or they're going to get pushed like the Shield when they do get finally called up in a couple of years. When did Oney get a title shot? Yeah, Cuba Girl, I was saying that last week. I was so confused. I'm like, what did Oney Lorcan do to constitute that he gets an automatic North American title shot? He didn't win a number one contenders match, which is impossible because they had the freaking main debut title match like a couple weeks ago. So I don't know how the hell this was determined. Anyways, Adam Cole faced Oney Lorcan for the North American Championship. It's actually a decent back and forth match. Cole is like selling the rib injuries. He's got his whole ribs wrapped up from TakeOver. Eventually Cole is like seen hurting on the outside, and he's writhing in pain. And O'Reilly and Strong actually come running out, and they bring a trainer with them to check on Adam Cole as if he's like really injured. And like O'Reilly even threw up like the X's to like signify that he's actually really hurt. Really selling a good job here. As Oney Lorcan is getting distracted, turning the other way towards Strong. Strong rips him out of the ring. Gives him a backdrop on the apron, throws him back in. And this is the funny part. So Strong goes back over with O'Reilly to Cole while Oney Lorcan's down the ring. And then they're both like, oh, he's okay. And then they throw Cole back in the ring. He's like dazed and confused, going, oh, okay, whatever. And then Cole sees Lorcan down. And then Cole gets back up and then hits the knee to the back of the head, which they call it the last shot. And then he gets the win. So Adam Cole picking up the victory here. O'Reilly and Strong get in the ring and start attacking Oney Lorcan. Danny Burch comes out for the save, but eventually gets super kicked by Adam Cole. He has some vicious headbutts, though, to O'Reilly and Strong. Would look pretty ferocious, but gets super kicked by Adam Cole, and the Undisputed Era is left standing tall. So very, very good opening to NXT this week. I very enjoyed that. I loved the Oney Lorcan. I think I'm going to assume that Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch are going to be the first ones to get a title shot against O'Reilly and Strong. So I'm assuming at NXT TakeOver Chicago, or maybe in an upcoming NXT episode, it will be the tag team titles, Lorcan and Burch against O'Reilly and Strong. That's what I'm assuming. Over to live chat, Cuba Girl, Oney and Danny are like what Christopher Daniels and his partner Frankie are in ROH, but their faces. Oh, okay, yeah. I do see that a lot of that, Cuba Girl 125. Good analogy there. Gotta take a sip of water here. Tough to news on my own now. Anyways, we got a Shayna Baszler promo package highlighting her NXT career and her domination so far in this division. She's been a breath of fresh air from this division. I honestly, it's like the promo says, I don't know who the hell is going to take the title off her. I hope they have big plans for that. and to do it in the right way. But I have high faith in NXT. They've done everything great in the past 4 to 5 years, so I give them 100% faith. They showed even last week the match between Candice LeRae and Zelina Vega, basically the ending to Zelina Vega and Almas' time at NXT. Highlighting that, they also announced that next week LeRae will be facing off against Bianca Belair, the EST of NXT, and they gave her a little promo package, which is pretty cool. So I think they have a lot of faith in Bianca Belair. That's what I've been reading. So there's a lot of big things coming out of Bianca Belair. So let's stay tuned with her. I mean, she's got basically the complete package. She can wrestle. She's very fit. She's got a dangerous weapon in that braid, and she plays her character so well. So Bianca Belair, we're going to see a lot of. I really like her. Candice LeRae, I love her. What she's all about, wrestling with heart and being that underdog style type women's wrestler. It's something they really need in NXT. So, and she plays it just right. So those two clashing next week, as they announced on this week's episode. Number 3. So next we had oh god, Heavy Machinery facing off against Tino Sabatelli and Riddick Moss. Man, these guys are hilarious. Heavy Machinery, they make me laugh. As for Tino and Riddick, we finally got something out of this. So they've been teasing for a while now on TV. Whenever they've been on TV, some tension between Riddick Moss and Tino. So this is going to be interesting. They come up against the Heavy Machinery in this match. It was an alright match. It was pretty decent. Eventually, Riddick Moss, he got thrown into Tino, and he went flying out on the outside and hits the barricade. As he's turned around, Tucker Knight gets the hot tag. He's building up momentum, and Moss tries to fight back. He eventually does, so he goes over to try to tag Tino in. He's asking for the tag, and then Tino brings his hand back and starts walking up the ramp and leaves Riddick Moss lying in the ring. Holy shit, this is crazy. I actually popped a little bit for this. This is cool. Moss is just dumbfounded. He doesn't know what the hell's going on. He turns around. He basically gets the double finisher, the compactor, by Heavy Machinery, and he loses the match. But that wasn't the end of this. So after the match, Heavy Machinery actually gets on the mic, and they call out the War Raiders, basically for what their War Raiders attack at the kind of pre-show of NXT TakeOver New Orleans. Basically, it was the taping of NXT. Says that they're going to raid the buffet of all the steaks. And then go to the gym and lift all the weights. These guys are freaking hilarious, man. I love Heavy Machinery. And I knew they were going to go up against Roar Raiders or something. It's a big feud. I don't think that's going to happen up until TakeOver Chicago. I think that's where we're going to finally see that first match. They say, if you're man enough to get in the ring with us, then we are coming for war. So Heavy Machinery and War Raiders are the start of the feud happening now. I'm loving this. These guys are going to finally clash at NXT TakeOver Chicago. I'm hoping so. I do not think they should be doing this early. I think maybe they could do a one-on-one between maybe Tucker Knight and one of the War Raiders eventually, and have the other two on the outside and just build momentum, gain some momentum for this feud, and gain something out of it, so that when you get to NXT TakeOver Chicago, we get the final payoff in a tag team between these two. But don't have them face each other in a tag team match up until then. I'd say maybe only one-on-one match, or maybe one of them is having a tag team match with the other, and they interfere, but they just build momentum up until then. I will love the payout for this. At the end, so Heavy Machinery and the War Raiders. Over the chat, Bianca versus Candice will be so interesting. Nikki Cross and Baszler, yep. Cuba Girl saying, I said on Twitter that Tino would be perfect prodigy to EC3. EC3 can make him into the star that he needs to be. Okay, that'd be cool, but I think it's I don't think Tino could seep down to that level. I think his head and his ego is already that high. So I don't think he would go, you know what I mean? Both him and EC3 are the same. So that's why I would think they'd be a perfect tag team together. Maybe Tino replaces Riddick Moss with EC3 for a bit. I kind of would be all right with that. They both kind of have the same gimmick and the same ego and the same persona, so why not put these two together? Tiffany, Shane Thorne next week makes me happy. A big Shane Thorne fan. Tiffany there. Michael Chow's bios versus Tiff's men. Or Michael Chow's boys. Okay, yeah. Street Profits. My boys, too. I love Street Profits. Love these guys. Love what they're all about. B.S. Rawson puts, I would still love for Cross to have moved up with Sandy. Yeah, a lot of people were saying that, but this was actually Triple H's decision to keep Nikki Cross down there. He sees a lot of potential in her. So I know what you're saying, Beast for Awesome, but I'm actually loving that Vince doesn't get his hands on her just yet, because who knows what we do with Nikki Cross up there. Look what they did with Asuka. So I'm glad they kind of kept her down. We can get a lot more out of Nikki Cross. So we'll see what happens with that. I think eventually when she gets called up, she'll get called up to wherever Sanity is on SmackDown or Raw, wherever they're going to be. Maybe they get changed, but maybe if it's SmackDown, I'm hoping Nikki Cross goes up to SmackDown. After that, we had a couple short promos. Again, Nikki Cross was one of them. Then they had Aaliyah and Kairi Sane basically cutting promos about each other, or cutting promos on Shayna Baszler about each other, and even Kairi Sane saying I know her weakness because I beat her in the Mae Young Classic. I love that Aaliyah's been included in this, but it looks like they're not done with her. I thought for a while that they weren't going to find anything for her, but our girl Aaliyah from Toronto is getting some time here with the promo shoot. Next, Dakota Kai had a backstage interview. Basically, I forget who it was. It was Kathy Kelly asking about what happened in the locker room last week with Baszler. Dakota Kai basically saying that she prefers not to talk about it, looking very scared and very worried. But then in comes Shayna Baszler, and all cocky as hell. Shayna Baszler is great. I love her character. I love what she's about. She basically tells Dakota Kai, how does it feel that a woman's division is run by me is your worst nightmare? So Dakota looking very, very scared here after that, and Shayna Baszler is being an ultimate badass the way she should be right now. It's gonna be very tough to see who actually pulls that title from her. It's probably gonna be a while, and I think it should be like that. Over to live chat, B is Ross. Asuka sucks. I said it. It's like the Asuka treatment with Nikki. HHH wants her to be successful on NXT first. I said it. B is for awesome. We'll see. B is Robin. I know it sucks now the way they're pushing her. So yeah, I know. Why didn't they show my girl Taynara Conti? What the hell, man? This chick's all about the black belt, and she's got this big jiu-jitsu background. Unless they're saving her for a later matchup with Shayna Baszler. I don't know what's going on there, but I feel like my girl Taynara should have got some TV time this week. Just saying. Anyways, we got a promo again by Kona Reeves. I guess he's re-debuting with this new gimmick. It's very, very Velveteen Dream-like. I don't know how well it's going to work. I don't know if their plan is for them to feud against each other, like a pretty boy gimmick against a pretty boy gimmick. He's got a lot of. He's like Velveteen Dream and Johnny Nitro put together into a character here. So we'll see. I expect big things out of Kona Reeves. If not, then I don't know what they're going to do with him. We moved on, and we got some more of those woman promos on Shayna Baszler. We had Lacey Evans, looks at Vanessa Bourne, are not done with her, and then Candice LeRae. I thought they were very interesting. Each girl cut a really good promo, I thought. So it's very going to be interesting to see what happens with this women's division on NXT. Not giving any hints just yet. They also announced that next week TM61 will face the Street Profits, as I just talked about. And then Dunn will go one-on-one with Strong. I thought this wasn't going to happen for a while, but Dunn is going to go one-on-one with Roderick Strong for his revenge next week. Right NXT next week. So it's crazy. I hope that's the main event next week. I really do. Beast Ross, I'm saying Velveteen Dream is going to be huge. Literally the freshest thing in NXT. Dude has no ceiling. 100% agree. The guy is just so good. He plays his character so well. He's got a great in-ring skill. He's the complete package. So I'm glad what they're doing with Velveteen Dream. I hope he does get an NXT North American title shot soon. I hope he does. Yeah, I think he will. So next, we had the main event. Supposed to be Johnny Gargano and Aleister Black for the NXT title. This was supposed to be a really, really good match too, because they started really not late, but it left time for a 25-minute match. So I was expecting a lot of it, but as Johnny's making his entrance, he gets jumped by Tommaso Ciampa, and this was from here probably the best part of NXT, and it sealed the deal once again that NXT is the A brand 100%, just from this point right here. So he gets jumped by Tommaso Ciampa, so they're not done yet, Ciampa and Gargano. I knew they were going to be done. I knew they're going to do something. This is leading to something, NXT TakeOver Chicago, like I've said before, where the ultimate payoff is going to be, and they're going to do the whole story of that's where it started. That's where DIY first split up last year. I know they're going to do something like that. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. You know what I'm getting? And you can quote me here, and you remember this. I'm thinking these guys are going to go in a Hell in a Cell match. I didn't read this anywhere. This was not a spoiler. This is not a rumor. I'm thinking these guys are. I know the ultimate payoff should have been the ultimate ending should have been that unsanctioned match. These guys are going to be in a Hell in a Cell match. I'm leaving it out there. They're going to be either going to be trapped in a cell where they can't go outside the arena and go anywhere else. All the chaos will be put into that ring, and NXT is going to have its first Hell in a Cell match, and it's going to be Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa, and that's going to be at NXT TakeOver Chicago. I guarantee that's probably what's going to happen. So you heard it here first. I'm calling it Ciampa Gargano NXT TakeOver Chicago, the first ever NXT Hell in a Cell match. Anyway, so he got brutally attacked on the stage area. Eventually, Ciampa gets a hold of Johnny Gargano, and he gives him like this Sheamus white noise move. I keep forgetting what that move's called. Off the stage, and then through a production table. And that was a really, really crazy spot. Looked like it hurt both of them because Ciampa rolled out of the way, and then he was gone. The EMTs come out, and Candice LeRae come out to attend to Johnny as he's being put on a stretcher, so he gets carried out on a stretcher. As Johnny is put in the ambulance, Aleister Black is seen walking by going, what the hell just happened? And as the ambulance is driving away, there's best camera cut ever. It camera cuts to the top of the NXT production truck, and Ciampa just sitting there standing there waving goodbye at Johnny. This is so good. This feud is so good, and I love what they're doing. I love the antics of Tommaso Ciampa. I love these camera cuts. They're doing so. This is probably one of the best feuds that NXT's ever had. It's so good. So I love that whole spot. Eventually, we get cut back into the ring after Ronaldo and what's his face? I keep forgetting his name. It's funny because I saw him at Access, and I always forget his name. Anyways, him and the other guy finally got back on commentary. Aleister Black comes out to the ring with the mic, and he's about to cut a promo on Ciampa when actually Sanity cuts him out. And I'm going, what? What? Sanity's coming out? What's going on here? Why is Sanity coming out? I was very, very shocked. And it was Eric Young, Killian Dane, and Alexander Wolf. I'm going, holy shit, what's going to happen here? Like, I was very intrigued because I thought that he was going to call out Ciampa, and I was going to set up Ciampa and Aleister Black or something. But no, they come out. Eric Young starts cutting a promo on Chaos and all this crap about and being Sanity, and then he just gets cut off by Aleister Black and goes, "Are you looking for this?" And Eric Young's like shaking his head, yeah, and then, okay, let's do this. And then they have a title match, so right, just like that. Aleister Black versus Eric Young for the NXT title. I think they did this because it was just like a send-off, good send-off for Eric Young. Send him off on an NXT title match, something he's probably wanted a lot in NXT ever since coming to NXT, and then where he's finally getting his main title match. It was really good. It was really well done too. It was actually a really, really good, decent match. It was more than I expected at that time when they first started when they rang the bell for this match. I'm like, okay, it's probably going to be a short match. No, it was actually really decent. A lot of good shots back and forth. A lot of near falls. Really, really good finish. I love the finish. It was really, really high stakes and really interesting with Black hitting the Black Mass out of nowhere like he always does. And then he gets the 1-2-3 pin for the win. And then eventually Dane and Wolf get in the ring and they both get Black Massed. And then Aleister Black ends the show with his championship. And wow, one hell of an episode of NXT this week, man. I cannot wait for the upcoming episodes of NXT and leading into TakeOver Chicago. Over to live chat really quick. We got the quietness of the crowd and Candice's reaction was beautiful. Yeah, very well done. That also plays a factor into it. B.S. Rawson puts Ciampa versus Gargano bra and panties match. You hear it here first. God damn it, B.S. Rawson. God damn it. Keep it girl. Ciampa makes Batman look like a damn wimp. All right. That's interesting. Excuse me. Tiffany puts Black was wearing a suit outside and then came into the ring. He was wearing a suit outside. Was he wearing a suit outside? I don't know if he was wearing a suit outside. Are you sure he was, or wasn't his black leather jacket? I thought it was his black leather his vest thingy. Here we go. Does NXT not remember that Eric debuted against Samoa Joe? Wow, I don't remember that. I forgot about that. Holy crap! So Samoa Joe was down there. Interesting. Anyway, sorry, Tiffany. I'm sorry. I'll have to go back and watch. I wasn't really paying attention to that because I was wondering where Tommaso Ciampa was. I thought he was gonna jump and come into the ambulance and pull Johnny Gargano out. That's what I was hoping for. Anyways, again, this is gonna be very interesting. The upcoming weeks leading into this. Tiffany had a very interesting point that she tweeted at me, which I will talk about, which ties into that. But good episode of NXT. I love the whole Undisputed Era storyline. I love this whole Shayna Baszler storyline. I love that Heavy Machinery is finally going to set up their feud with the War Raiders, Tino Sabatelli and Riddick Moss. The fallout, what's going to happen with that? Is EC3 going to come into play? Kona Reeves, what are we going to get out of him next week? And then we also got TM61, Street Profits, and Done Strong next week. So this is what I mean. This is why I say this and repeat this on a weekly show basis. Why I review NXT, because it is the ultimate show. It is the A show, because so much good happens every single week that we can sit there and enjoy and talk about. So that's why I review it. Again, it's not always perfect. There are sometimes there's some things we can nitpick, but this week was a very fantastic episode, very well done. And going to be a very interesting episode next week for NXT as well. So that's the review for that, guys. And bringing back a segment is going to be just solely NXT based, because I don't watch the main roster really anymore. So if you guys remember, you know what it's all about, and that is the list of 10.
10. You know what? You know what happens? You know what's going to happen? You just made the list!
That's right. You just made the list. The list of 10 is back, and that is where I will give a moment or superstar of the week a perfect 10 moment or perfect 10 rating, or it gets a rating of it makes the list. And usually when I have my co-host, I would start off with him, but it's just me. I'll start off with me. You guys in the live chat, you guys tell me what your moments or superstars are of the week, what makes the list, and what gets a perfect 10. It could be WWE main roster related. It could be NXT related. You let me know in the chat while I discuss mine. So my perfect 10 rating this week will actually go to, again, is really obvious because I love the storyline. It's going to go to the Ciampa and Gargano continuation of the storyline. A lot of people don't like it. I've seen a lot of people rip on it on Twitter, saying that they should have ended at the unsanctioned match. Why are they continuing now after this unsanctioned match? I see where it makes sense, because now Johnny's reinstated into NXT, and Ciampa never left NXT, so it just makes sense for them to continue it. And I wanted the follow-up to be an NXT TakeOver Chicago, because that's where the split-up actually started. So that, I think, will actually be the final nail in the coffin between these two, unless they have something big planned for Brooklyn. I think the main one is going to be NXT TakeOver Chicago, where it all started, where the breakup all started. And again, like I said, I'm predicting Hell in a Cell for that match. So I'm giving my perfect 10 rating to the start, to rekindling this feud, or guys, continuing this feud this week. Awesome work by Johnny Gargano to sell that injury after getting put in the stretcher. Gargano's a perfect seller. Same with Candice with the fake tears, and Ciampa just savages all hell on top of the production truck waving. So this whole feud is getting my perfect
10
for this week. That's for sure. So right over to live chat quickly, see if you guys have had anything. Are you still doing the Twitter fan of the month? I don't know. I might have to put that on. Wait until the month of May, Tiff, until I figure out what to do with that. And then I'll figure out what to do with that. You think Cuba Girl should have April? I'll give her. Okay, there you go. Cuba Girl, you get April until I can figure out what to do for sure with that. B.H. Rossum, I am the self-proclaimed Twitter fan of the month. I am also the superstar of the week. And Tiffany's, I'm the dad-ass of the week. And Kyle and myself is Hyper Coffee Guy of the Month. Oh, now we're just throwing shit around here. Anyways, here we got a moment here. So Cupid Girls 125. Her 10 moment is Bat Ciampa. So the little thing he's got in his eye. So that's pretty cool. So she gives that a 10 moment. And her list moment is Shrek Prince Charming Kona Reeves Blatt. That's interesting. Thank you, Cooper Girl, for your list in 10 moment. So my list moment of the week, it's tough because I don't have a lot to say about NXT and how bad it is. And it's tough. I can't really give anything bad this week to NXT. So whatever I can think of at the top of my head is my list moment is going to go to the fact that WWE, the main thing was for them going back to the single branded pay-per-views, just because they want to eliminate the double pay-per-views a month and having to do many pay-per-views a month. So that was the main idea why they were doing this, and it's to save money, and they want to get rid of the poor attendance in some of the single branded pay-per-views. So that's why they did it. But now they go ahead and contradict themselves and say that, oh, okay, so now we're going to put the greatest Royal Rumble, call it the greatest Royal Rumble for whatever reason, 3 weeks after WrestleMania and 1 week before Backlash. So we're going to have, basically, in a month span, we're going to have basically 3 pay-per-views. Wasn't the idea to have only one a month? What the fuck is this? So now they literally paid no attention to Backlash. There's basically 0 builds. It's next week, for Christ's sakes. Well, you're going to build it off 1 week? 1 week build. You're going to build Backlash. That's going to be the worst debut of the double-branded pay-per-view since we went back to it in a long time. And for this whole spiel...
You know what? You just made the list.
It makes the list. To me, it's like, why would they do that? Why would they complain about the poor attendance in a single brand pay-per-views and have to go back to the dual branded, and now they have 3 pay-per-views in a 1 month span? Like, and there's no build for Backlash. There's absolutely nothing. So why should we care about it? I wouldn't doubt if that had poor attendance at that pay-per-view. And everybody sitting there going, oh, it definitely isn't the dual branded part anymore. Look there's poor attendance on Backlash. And that's going to be Vince talking, by the way. Because he's an idiot, doesn't know actually what the fuck's going on half the time. So it is what it is. That gets my list moment. B.S. Rosen puts 10 moment is the Braun panties prediction. Sure, that's a perfect 10 moment for B.S. Rosen. Tiffany agrees. Come on, let's hear a 10 for the Braun panties. Okay, just for you, B.S. Rosen, for the Braun panties prediction. 10. There you go, just for you. People demanded it. Another 10 moment, the Woken Tag Team Champs. Yes, Cuba Gross saw that they won today. It's kind of really obvious because like Cesaro and Sheamus are now on SmackDown. They weren't going to hold the Raw Tag Team titles on SmackDown, so it's just very obvious, but I'll give it a 10. 10. Just for Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy, now Tag Team Champions. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with those titles now with even... no, we didn't forget about the Andre the Giant trophy like they usually do by now, so we're never going to see that again. B.S. Rosen, my life's I'm glad I can do that for you, B.S. Rosen. So let me just open up Twitter here because I actually had an interesting tweet from Tiffany that I want to get to as it relates to the main storyline with NXT right now. If my computer helps, and while I wait for that, I'll take a sip of water. Stop doing it by myself. That's okay. All right, let's pull up Tiffany's tweet here and let's see if I have any others. All right, so she puts, can you imagine Gargano being out for a while and Ciampa finding a way to have a title shot at TakeOver Chicago against Aleister Black, winning the championship? Take my money, Brooklyn. Oh my God, can you imagine? Can you imagine this? So this injury, and I put quote unquote injury that Gargano is going to have now, and he might be out for a while, maybe out until after TakeOver Chicago. Maybe he's like not medically cleared by then, but then it's I can kind of see that. I'm going to add something to that, Tiff. Maybe Gargano's going to have his NXT title match that he never got, and Will Muir is going to book it at TakeOver Chicago, but maybe by then Gargano isn't medically cleared. Maybe he gets attacked again by Ciampa, and then it forces Ciampa into the match, replacing Gargano. Then Aleister Black faces Tommaso Ciampa, and he wins the title out of nowhere. Just he ends up winning the championship, hangs on to that title, and the ultimate payoff match maybe is not until NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, where they have that championship match between Ciampa and Gargano. I really, really like that idea. That'd be really sweet. That'd be continuing a long feud from now until then. But would it be a really good payoff? I think so. But again, I'm gonna stick with mine, even though I love that idea, Tiff. Don't get me wrong, it's a great, great one. I would pick that any other day, but because I thought of the top of my head, I'm thinking the ultimate payoff is going to be an NXT TakeOver Chicago, Ciampa versus Gargano, Hell in a Cell match, and that's going to end the feud. Maybe then Gargano goes on to face Aleister Black at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, because that can even be a big match too. Black versus Gargano for the championship finally at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. So thank you for that tweet, Tiff. I don't really think I have any more. Nope, I do not have. She does tell me to please talk about how champions come out first for a match. Why aren't they coming out last? I don't know. To me, Tiff, sorry, I know it's probably a big deal to you. I don't really notice it half the time. It's weird. I do see why you would think it's weird and how they should be coming out. It's weird. I think they should be coming out second. The challenger should be coming out first, and then it should be the champion. So I'm triggered. Where do they go? What are they going to do with Velveteen? See, Cuba Girl, I don't know. Like, to me, I want them to do something with Velveteen Dream, because I think he deserves to have something going into NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. Maybe they're waiting. Maybe they're going to do something with the North American Championship. Maybe he's going to do something with EC3. I hope they have something big and planned for him, because he deserves it. He's one of those prime talents on the NXT roster right now. And he's saying with, like, they have so many people. This is going to be very tough to do, because you have guys like Velveteen Dream, Ricochet, EC3, Johnny Gargano, and Ciampa. You have all these big talents that you're going to have to do something with. Aleister Black, who is he going to face? So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with all these guys going forward. I really have 100% faith in NXT, and I have 100% faith in Hunter and what he's going to do with NXT. So just got to be patient and let it roll out. Unlike the main roster, we're not going to have to like cringe at next week's episode of NXT. We're always going to want to look forward to it and see what happens, because I love tuning into NXT every single week, man. It's the best thing going right now on the main roster. Same way, like you said, Lars Sullivan. I hope this guy does something too. It looks like him and Killian Dane are done, because Killian Dane's on the main roster. What did he do with Lars? I would have called him up by now and do something with Braun Strowman, because really there's nothing else you can do in NXT. So again, it's going to be very, very interesting to see what NXT does in the upcoming weeks. It's going to be very cool. I'm looking forward to it. But as for that, guys, that's going to wrap it up. I don't have really much else to say about NXT and the main roster right now. Again, episode 100 coming up. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what we do with that. I like the idea of BF Awesome saying it should be a call-in show. I'm thinking maybe doing YouTube Live, something big. I'm going to think about it in the next couple of days, and I'll let you guys know on Twitter. Maybe I'll put a poll out there to see what you guys want me to do. But yeah, that is going to, it's going to wrap it up for the Lowdown Show, episode 98, right here on No Holds Barred Wrestling Podcast. Guys, your Canadian wrestling podcast that talks about NXT and no holds barred on anything I say. Pun intended. You can follow the podcast on Twitter at NoHoldsBarredWP, and you can follow myself at RealKyleMasters. We are also available to follow on Instagram, NoHoldsBarredWP. You can listen to us on the go on Spreaker, iTunes, and Stitcher Radio. Spreaker is a glorious podcast app. It's free to download for all Android and Apple devices. Free to make a profile. It allows you to talk with us live on the air and allows you to listen to all previous episodes of the podcast as well. If you want to watch any video versions of this podcast, you can go back and watch this video version of the podcast for the special unboxing. It is located on youtube.com/NHBWR, and hit that subscribe button, that bell icon. It would be much appreciated for all upload updates. I'm your host, the self-proclaimed greatest host, as always, Kyle Masters, reminding you all to keep it on the lowdown.
Is that what you got? So what you gonna do about it? Gonna kick your sorry ass, but what you gonna do? You're looking at the real deal now. Gonna kick your sorry ass out on the street. Is that what you got? You used to think you own the street. Well, back to back and your ass is dead meat. Victory is sweet. Bring it on. Here's your receipt. Bring it on. What you gonna do about it? Bring it on. Is that what you got? Bring it on. So what you gonna do about it? Bring it on. Gonna kick your sorry ass, but what you gonna